Daddy, say yes.
This is a new project. I'm building a worm bin. This is going to be kind of a hybrid between a continuous flow through system and a sorter system. You'll see as I go along what that's going to mean, but the start of it is going to be this box, and I decided to do something a little bit different this time. I'm going to try to use the legs to basically hold together these corners, and so we're notching out half notches so that the two boards will fit together, and then a 4x4, which is 3.5 inches, will fit there, and I'll put timber screws into that, and that'll hold the legs on and hold the whole bin together. The idea is I could back out some screws and disassemble it if I wanted to, and just to kind of try my hand at getting used to cutting out these kinds of notches so that the boards fit together. So the layout is pretty easy, pretty simple. So we just figure out what we want our top to be. We measure in 3.5 inches here, and these are 2x8s, which is actually 7 and a quarter, I think it was, or something. Anyway, this comes down about 3 5/8 to hit the center line of the board. And so I mark both sides and both ends, and I started to cut them with a circular saw. It's really hard to do that and keep them to be pretty square, but a 2x8 will fit in my compound miter saw. So I've been sawing them on the miter saw, and then taking the chisel and just taking out the rest of this bottom line here until they look like that. So it's time to saw the one I just marked. Let's get to that. So these are long to cut at the miter saw, but I have some help. I actually picked up one of these miter saw stands. This is actually the really cheap version miter saw stand. My miter saw stand has these, but the arms on there will have some flex as they get longer and they extend out. So in this case, I could actually keep these arms short, and it supports the wood really well. So now I can drag this out along the fence until we're lined up for our cut. Bring the saw out. I have to start it down. It will automatically pull back the guard, and then just push it back through that cut. Sorry, dude.
Yep.
All right, I'm missing one detail left, but I have to work on those because I have to still stain them. I didn't cut them to length because I wanted to fit all of this stuff in first, but it's getting kind of late and I'll probably forget to do it, so we'll go with it for now. So what happens here is there's kind of two methods for continuous flow-through systems. One of the methods for harvesting your castings is to use like a expanded wire like this, and you can kind of run the castings over it. Most of the worms should stay. And I also can kind of rinse through if I want. I can rinse through and make like the worm tea out of it if I want. So what's going to happen here is this one will go into the far end, and what will wind up in the other end, I'm inside, so this isn't like impossible, but there's a ledge here, and I have a few more of these 2x8s that I'm going to cut to length now. I'm going to measure from that end there, measure to here, to right in here somewhere, and leave a little bit off. I'll actually probably end up leaving about a 1/4 inch or so space so that I don't have to worry about everything wedging in there. So I've got 3 boards will go across the bottom for where the floor will be. So there'll be a piece here, here, and here. And there'll be little gaps in between those. And so that'll create the floor for approximately 2/3, I would say, maybe, of the bed. So the worms will live mostly, hopefully, in this corner back here. I'll feed them in the first section. Let's see if I can climb out. You get a better sense. And try to not kill myself. So it's a long bed. It's about 7 feet long. And the idea is to always feed in this section here, somewhere in this ballpark. And then once that becomes castings, to pull it to the middle, not quite to the straining area there. So this will kind of be like a slope. And the idea is that when you pull castings down, especially where the food was, you've got eggs and little guys in there. Those will give them a chance to get out, wander their way this way, simulating worms. And they'll wind up hopefully finding the food, and they'll always kind of hang out and stay on this side of it. So this will be our feeding section here. This is sort of just staging, and then hopefully they'll get out of this and head to that way, and then I can actually just pull off little bits of this and run it through the strainer, and I'll have a bin underneath that I can basically strain the castings out into the bin, and that'll be kind of our system. That's the theory. I don't think I've ever really seen one like this. Most of them that I saw had like conduit going across the whole length of the whole thing. I looked how to harvest castings. A lot of people made little trays like this and used those cement mixing tubs, and they would strain the pieces through that, the castings through that. So I just kind of incorporated that, plus sort of the continuous system, but rather than the conduit bars, I wound up with them going this way, and they'll have little cracks in between, so all the kind of juices and stuff can flow out through from all the food. So it needs to go out through the bottom, and then worms will have a much bigger space to live in. So that's the system. That's it, kind of overall and completed. Not entirely completed. That's it, mostly completed. I've got to go cut to length the floor pieces, put the stain on those, and that's going to take the rest of the day. So I didn't want to take time to do that, and I'll probably forget to film it. But that's kind of the walkthrough of the whole thing. So hopefully this is helpful. I'll keep you updated on how it works. I'll film it when I put the worms in it, and we can kind of see how it works, and I'll try to post some updates. But that's it for this project. I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you again soon. So I'm starting a new project, just a side project. This is going to be, now looking at it, it's huge. It's going to be a worm bin. It's going to be a very large worm bin, it looks like.